Hey, what's going on? It's Dr. McLean with Vital Energy Chiropractic. Have you ever had a flashbulb moment? I'm sure you have. In psychology, they call a flashbulb moment, and you can remember exactly where you were at when something happened. So for example, most people can remember exactly where they were at when they heard about 9/11, the 9/11 attacks. You remember exactly where you were, what you were doing at that time. That's called a flashbulb moment. So I had a flashbulb moment that changed my life forever that I think will help you as well. So when I was in chiropractic school as a student, an underclassman, the older students are your doctors. That's how they practice on you. And then when you become an upperclassman, you practice on the younger students. That's how you learn. And so I remember I was in student clinic as a patient. I just had started chiropractic school. And I had my gown on, and I'm waiting for my student doctor to come out. And I'm in the supervising doctor's office. And I'm just chatting with her. And as I look down, she has this paper on her desk. At the top it says side effects of ibuprofen, and it listed all these side effects of ibuprofen. I look down, I'm looking at the list, and it says canker sores are one of the side effects of ibuprofen. And NSAIDs in general, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, but specifically ibuprofen. And I said, ibuprofen causes canker sores? And I was dumbfounded. And she looked at me like I was nuts, like everybody knew this. And I was like, I didn't know this. And now, the reason this is important for me is because for years prior to that, and still up to that point, I was suffering with significant canker sores. I would typically have 2, 3, sometimes 4 canker sores in my mouth. Sometimes they would be so big, it would literally sound like I had a speech impediment. I had problems speaking because my canker sores are so big sometimes. And they were horribly painful. And then once I got those, I was taking things to treat those canker sores, over-the-counter things or natural things to try to get rid of the pain. They were horrible. And up to that point, because I had many other symptoms too that I was suffering with, I was working really hard on my health. I was exercising, I was eating right, I was eating a really strict diet, doing all these things, and yet I was still sick. I was still having these canker sores, among other things. So it dawned on me, and it made me really mad and frustrated me, that I'm putting all this energy and effort into this area, and yet unknowingly I'm undoing it by taking this ibuprofen. Now I wasn't taking like a ton of ibuprofen, but if there was some neck pain or some symptoms, I would take these ibuprofen. And I remember when I say this is a flashbulb moment, I say this because literally from that point on, this is well over 20 years ago. So I don't know, I've been practicing for over 20 years. I was in chiropractic school maybe 23, 24 years ago. I have not taken a single over-the-counter medication since then. Not since that day, not a single one. Aspirin, ibuprofen, cold medications, none of those things, because I realized that those things are working against my health. I'm doing all these other things to improve my health, and yes, you're going to occasionally get sick, you're going to have symptoms, that's part of life. But if I take a medication, I'm undoing those things. Now, I'm not suggesting for you that you'd never take a medication. You have to make that decision. In an emergency or crisis situation, I would definitely do that. If I had to take medications, drugs one time since then when I had my hip surgery. Otherwise, 20 plus years, I don't take any drugs because I know it's working more against me. So I use that data, and then I use my emotions, the fact that I was mad, that I was undoing all this energy, and that nobody ever told me this. The drug companies didn't tell me this, and I think nobody else told me this because very few people knew that. And so you can use this positively or against the negative things. So if you can say, hey, I want my health to look a certain way a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and I know, for example, taking care of my spine has to be part of that. That's a crucial part of my health. I can link that pleasure to doing my spinal rehab. I can link that pleasure to going and getting my chiropractic adjustment. Or it can be the same thing with exercise or eating healthy. So we all want to move towards, we want to move away from things that are negative, and we want to move towards things that feel good, that are positive. So we can use those emotions to do that. Now, the last thing I'll tell you about this is to understand is that those canker sores that I was dealing with were not the problem. They were not the cause of the problem. They were the end result. They were the symptom. I wasn't taking those ibuprofen and rubbing them on my lips. I was taking them to my body, and a side effect of those medications were doing that to my lips or my mouth. But what was that doing to my kidney and my liver? And thank God I didn't have a kidney or liver problem at the time, at least that I knew of, but it was affecting other parts of my body. So understand too is always to try to get to the cause of the problems. I hope that's helpful for you. And again, if you have any questions on this, how to think about this or medications in general, please, I'd love to be able to chat with you about that. Actually, I'm going to use this thing.